guys, welcome to my YouTube channel where you'll find weekly Sims 4 speed builds. So today I'm building in the world of Henford on Bagley. Although having said that, right now we're starting in Brindleton Bay. This is because I did one of the things that I often do whilst building, and that is start on a relatively small lot and then realise that I actually need a much bigger lot. Um, so I start on, I think, a 30 by 20 as as you can see now in Brindleton Bay. Then I move it to the 40 by 30 lot in Brindleton Bay, and then eventually over to a 50 by 40 in Henford on Bagley. So when I first started building this house, originally I was just thinking it would be like a countryside cottage sort of thing. Um, as it was coming along and I started making it more and more rustic looking, I thought, you know what, this would look so good with some farm animals in the property. Well, not in the property, but around the property, and really wanted to turn it into a small farm of sorts. Obviously, with the horse ranch expansion pack, we've now got horses. I say now like it's a very recent thing. It's been out a good while now, but in more recent years, of course, we've had the addition of the horses, and we've got cats, we've got dogs from the cats and dogs expansion pack. We've got goats and sheep also from the horse ranch expansion pack. And of course, with the cottage living one from much longer ago, we have cows, llamas, and also wild rabbits. So I decided as I was building this that I wanted this house and the family that lived here to be absolutely animal mad. I've included as many animals as I possibly could in this build, and even down to hamsters in one of the children's bedrooms. We've also got a ladybug. There's also a fish tank. When I say everything, as much as I could possibly think to include animal wise in this house or surrounding environment, we have got. So, yeah. As you can see, I've basically built the structure of the house now. It's coming along. I'm just adding some windows. I don't stick with the roof swatch that we've got on it at the moment. It was making it feel that bit too modern and bit too suburban-y. So I do now switch it to the one that you can see right there, which is the roof swatch from the Horse Ranch EP. And it actually, I don't know if you've ever tried this, but if you add the Island Living roof swatch, no, sorry, the roof trim, one of the shades matches perfectly to the roof trim from, the roof swatch from the Horse Ranch EP, and it just creates this gorgeous thatched cottage style roof looking effect. So I felt like this worked perfectly for me. I'm trying, like I've noticed with my building, I've been building for a good few years now, and I have a bit of an issue where I'll bounce back and forth from one area to another, but it doesn't look great for the sense of viewing. So I've tried my absolute darndest to make this video as smooth as possible by, whilst I was going through the building process, really trying to finish off one area in particular before moving along to the next. So of course I have completed the shell pretty much now of the building, and I'm moving on to the front landscaping. I try and get the bulk of this done before moving around to a different part of the build. So hopefully it's not too kind of like disjointed for you to view. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy it and love this build as much as I do. I'm using some debug. I think they're like a flower. It's supposed to be like a block of flour or a pack of flour block. I don't know. From the debug menu, you can find it just in the base game with the show hidden objects cheat turned on. I love this item for creating either pathway outlines or lines of flower beds, as you can see that I've done just here. So I used a couple of rugs to create the shape outline, and then simply placed these little flower brick things around the outline to create quite a specific and defined shape, which, as you can see, I'm now filling with a multitude of different flowers and shrubs. I created some custom plant pots, as you can see as well. These were used with a vase. Oh, I'm not 100%, but I want to say from the Jungle Adventure Pack. And I kind of sunk that into the platform, in all honesty, as I play on console. That's not something I've done with tool mod or anything. It's just something that happened when I was putting them there, and I thought it kind of looked good to have them that bit more sunken in. And so I went with it. And then I've added some flowers just from the standard flower menu and put them in the plant pots. As you would have seen a few seconds ago, I did create some sort of custom, if you will, window frames, and I used just a base game shelf just to outline these windows. One of the sort of small gripes that I have with windows in this game is they've not got like outward window sills to them, if that makes sense. And at least in the UK, I can't speak for other countries, but it is something that you see a lot. Some sort of outward framing to the windowsill as such. And so I liked that little detail that I added in there, because I just felt like it gave a bit more depth to the window. I'm just starting working on the floor plan at the moment now. You'll see me have a little bit of difficulties with this. I decided in the end to create a very large open plan kitchen area that you actually walk straight into from the front door. That isn't too uncommon of a thing in the UK, at least, to walk straight into a kitchen. So I thought, you know what, it'll be okay. I tend to like to create a separate sort of hallway porch like area, where you can have all your coats and your shoes and whatnot. So it was a bit different for me to have incorporated that into the kitchen. But hey, it's all good. We went with it. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention as well. See, I've tried to keep my building in order, but now my voiceover is coming out all higgledy piggledy, but you'll have to bear with me. I'm sure I'll get better at them the more of these videos that I do. But yeah, this video is, well, it's 56 minutes, 56 seconds long, and that was not actually planned, but yeah, it did take a lot of footage. I think I had pushing 16 hours worth of footage to edit for this video. I have sped it all up by 10 times. Hopefully that isn't too fast in terms of making it easy to view. If it is, let me know. Let me know what you think, irrespective. If that be it that it's too fast or too slow. And yeah, I will try and make it look better in future videos. I will be trying to upload once a week on a Wednesday, so keep your eye out for more videos coming up in the future. And yeah, so let me talk a little bit about the family that I'm gonna have living here. So, as I said, they're gonna be absolutely animal mad. I think that goes without saying. As I've got a horse stable with, obviously, with a horse in it, that would be kind of pointless to have a stable without the horse in. But yeah, so we've got a horse with its stable, and I was thinking that the mum is perhaps a well-renowned horse rider or jockey, and she's got heaps of awards. You'll see some of those scattered about either within the stable or in other parts of the house. And so she's a well-renowned jockey. She's got lots of awards within horse racing. She is horse mad, and the father within the household, I imagine, that he is more of an all-round animal loving sort. He works the farm animals in the sense of milking them, feeding them, and sort of getting the products from them in order to sell at farmers markets and whatnot, like eggs and milk and cheese and stuff like that. So he just really enjoys being within the whole farmland as a whole, and yeah, and tending to the animals and making their money for the family from the products that the animals produce. There will also be two kids living here, so my idea is that one is a little girl that is a child age by Sims terms, and one will be a little boy that is a toddler. The little girl and the little boy are also going to take after their parents in the sense of being absolutely animal mad, and they will also have a cat and a dog. So yeah, we'll have the mum, the dad, two children, a cat, a dog, and a horse that makes up this family, along with fish, a hamster, um, and a goat, sheep, a wild birds, wild rabbits, and a ladybug. And I think that that is everything. Oh no, the cow and the llama as well. So an absolutely packed household and lots to do in terms of gameplay with your family in there if you choose to download this house and move your own Sims family in. As you can see at the moment, I'm just working on the stable structure. This did take a minute or two. As you can see from the footage, I've had to make it wider and then wider again, and then I think even wider again, just to fit a floor plan that made sense to me on the inside of it. I wanted the horses to be able to have access to a small fenced off area at the front of the property, as you can see, where they could get food and water from. And then round the back, I've created a area where you can take the Sims to practice their jumping and whatnot. So of course, with the property being in Henford on Bagley, it's not got the surrounding horse jumps and stables and stuff that you would get in the horse ranch EP world, which the name Chestnut Ridge, Blumenneck, that disappeared from my brain for a minute. But yeah, so it's not got the stables and the jumps and whatnot that you've got surrounding the areas in Chestnut Ridge. So I wanted to give a designated area for your sim to practice with their horse in this property. I've gone through and I'm just sort of sectioning off the garden at the moment and figuring out where I want the. Oh, I've forgotten chickens. That's just popped into my head. I totally forgot the chickens as well. When I said I thought of everything, I truly did try and think of everything. But clearly in my voiceover, the poor chickens were forgotten about. But yeah, they are in with the goats and the sheep. I had thought about creating a sort of barn shed type area for the goats and sheep. One thing that annoys me slightly is that there isn't a designated sort of goat and sheep barn house, whatever you want to call it. They kind of you kind of just plop them down and leave them, and I don't like that. I want them to have somewhere specific to live where they can go and sleep at night and eat and drink or whatever. But when I was trying to build this barn shed type thing, because my main property is built on a medium wall height, I felt like it just looked too tall by comparison to the cow and llama sheds. So in the end, I just settled with using a debug um, building that kind of looked like, it looked like it could pass for a goat and sheep sort of house, barn, shed type thing. You will have also seen that I placed a custom built greenhouse Now, I cannot take the credit for this whatsoever. It was by an incredible creator called The Sim Scrolls. Again, I was having an issue when I thought about building my own greenhouse that the wall height just looked too tall for a greenhouse at the medium wall height and too bulky and just didn't fit the kind of rustic countryside cottage vibe that I was going for within this whole lot. So I went on the gallery and I found this absolutely beautiful greenhouse. It is literally under the creator's gallery page called Greenhouse, and like I said, the creator is called The Sim Scrolls, and they have made this beautiful building. And it isn't technically an actual building, so to speak. It's made from like stone wall pieces that the person has rotated, I believe, assumably with the tool mod on PC. Because I play on console, I don't have access to that. So when it comes to finding or wanting things in my game that aren't as standard available, such as a greenhouse in this case, I would like to try and create my own had I got access to the tool mod, but as I don't, I have to go on the gallery and find things that other creators have made. Because just in case you didn't know this, when you are on console, if a creator on PC has made like a custom item, such as this greenhouse, which is featuring individual items that have been rotated with the tool mod on PC, if they upload that to the gallery, you as a console player can download that and the items will still be rotated at whichever angle the creator has positioned them in with tool mod, but it is still accessible for us as console players. So this is a trick that I will use quite often, even if I'm taking just the rotated items from the overall thing that the person's made, to help me create my own thing in order to have these items rotated at an angle that, as an Xbox player, I'm unable to. So yeah, so they'd rotated the stone wall items and positioned them along with, I think, the crystal glass item from Island Living to create the windows, in order to form this beautiful greenhouse. So yeah, I would strongly recommend going to check out that creator. I was gobsmacked with that one. I thought it was absolutely beautiful and it fit exactly what I wanted for this build. You will have also just seen me do one of my favourite things in this build as well. I did have someone on Reddit ask me how I do this, well, how I did it rather, so I will explain. And that was the custom roof rack that I put on top of the Jeep or Land Rover looking car that's in the driveway. So basically, I used some railing things. I think off the top of my head that they're from the Get Together pack in the debug menu, the live edit menu. And I used them to form the sort of frame of the roof rack. I raised them up so that they were on top of the Jeep. And then I took some shelves. I think the ones that I used were from the Dine Out pack. I raised them up to be positioned sort of over the top of the two roof rack railings. And then I just took some bikes. I imagined one for each parent and one for the kids and positioned them on top. With this family being animal mad, they're obviously, it sort of comes with that concept that they would be very outdoorsy type people. So I thought, you know what, they'd probably go on either camping holidays or just small bike style day trips, where they'll take their drive to somewhere really pretty and then all of them get on their bikes and go for, well, maybe not the toddler, but for obvious reasons, I don't think toddlers can ride bikes, but the parents and the kids go on a small bike trip. And yeah, it reminded me a lot of when I was a kid and my family, my parents and my sister, we would go on camping holidays across France. That was kind of a regular thing that we did in the summer holidays, when me and my sister were kids. And we would take our bikes and we would have them on a roof rack on our car like that. And yeah, it was just a little nostalgic moment that I thought was really cute. And was kind of one of the standout things about this build that I'm most proud of. So I hope you guys like it. I'm just creating a small fire pit is the word. Goodness, my mind went blank again. A fire pit area in the back garden as well, or within the whole sort of private section of the garden, the part where there isn't animals specifically. I want it to be really cozy, really cluttered because this is a family home. Again, I remember when me and my sister were children, we would have stuff everywhere across our lawn, especially during the summer. We'd have slides, swings, a paddling pool, different toys and whatnot, all scattered across the lawn. And I wanted to make this house look as realistic and lived in as possible. So I added all those kinds of things. I also added a couple of obstacles for the dog. I felt like it was only right that the dog and the cat also had some custom pieces so that they had stuff to do. So there's a scratch post in the living room for the cat and a couple of obstacles for the dog in the garden beside the kids' toys and swings and slides and whatnot. I've also given them a pool. It's not the biggest pool, but it is quite cute and quite cozy. We've got a couple of sun lounges in there from the Riviera Retreat, the latest, well, one of the latest kits that's come out, along with a whale inflatable thing for the kids. And what I go ahead and do at some point is I create a custom sort of staircase going into the pool. I'll talk a bit more about that when it's on the screen so you can see what I'm on about. And as I was mentioning earlier with the custom frames that I created around the window, I thought it would look quite nice on this back window with it being a particularly wide one to add a few plant pots on these window sill frame type things. So that was what I was just doing there. Now I'm just adding a couple of bits as well towards the greenhouse area. So I did take a few bits away in the sense of some flowers and stuff that the original creator had added there and just customized it a little bit more to fit the vibe for my build. Around the greenhouse as well, I also wanted to have some planters for fruit and veggies. As I mentioned as well, I imagine that the dad frequents farmers markets with the products from the animals, and I think it would be also be cool for him to also take the fruit and veggies that they have grown on the property to sell at these markets, as well as obviously using them for their own food. I imagine that they are a very eco-friendly family as best as possible. I added some sprinklers in within the gaps of the planters. That's not actually something that I've done before, but when you go into live mode and you see them sprinkling the water across all the plants, I thought it looked really cute and also added to the realism. With the fruit and veggies that I've added into the planters, what I did, I found them on the gallery. I just searched, I think, like perfect fruit and vegetables, and someone had uploaded these to the gallery that I could download straight from there and just place straight into the planters instead of having to get a sim, come in and actually grow them. That's a good little trick if you are a builder and want to add fruits and veggies into planters. You can just download them straight from lots that other people, well, rooms that other people have uploaded to the gallery. I think after this section that I'll move on to some more of the garden area. I'm just finishing off adding a few little fairy lights to this greenhouse as well, and just really customizing it to make it a little bit more to my liking. Oh yeah, I did also forget to say when I was doing the fire pit area, the rug that I used, someone asked me about that as well, and it's actually like a circle stone. It's classed as a rug item. It's like a circle stone piece, and it is from the Journey to Batu pack. I apologise if you did just hear my one of my cats meowing. She's currently sat up at the window and is chasing flies. So if you can hear it meowing in the background, that is why. She does that kind of feral thing when cats start making those funny meow noises when they're after bugs, because she is a little hunter. But yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying with the Journey to Batu pack. I know that a lot of simmers are quite against that pack. To me, it did seem like quite a strange collaboration pack to have made. I think, like, and I could be wrong, but I think that perhaps the over 50% of people who play The Sims are generally females, and Star Wars is stereotypically more of a male um, franchise in the sense of has like a bigger male fan base. So to put that into a more of a female player base kind of game isn't necessarily the most common sense of decisions, in my opinion. But having said that, I bought the pack when it was super cheap, and there is some insanely underrated items in there. There's a lot that fit the kind of industrial style. So for those builds, there's a huge amount of items that are really good for that. And my boyfriend is a huge Star Wars fan, and I did have a lot of fun going through all the items initially, and he was sat there naming what they all were and telling me where they're from in the sense of the film. But yeah, so personally, I can understand why people, especially like females, wouldn't be so interested in buying the pack when you've not necessarily got an interest in Star Wars for yourself, as I didn't. But there is, for builders, there's some really amazing items in there, and like I say, I had a lot of fun looking through them with my boyfriend, who is a big Star Wars fan. I did just go on and I talked straight over building the custom staircase that I used to go into the pool. I thought this was really cool at just making my pool stand out and look a bit more different than just a bog standard rectangle filled with water. There's a creator on the gallery called Winter's Edge, I think, off the top of my head, and they made this pool called the Deep End, and it's a really cool pool, and I have it saved to my gallery. Oh, not my gallery, sorry, to my library, because what I'll do, I'll often take items like I was on about earlier when I take individual items from someone's creation that they've rotated in order to make my own individual items, because I can't rotate them for myself with being on Xbox. And they have rotated some of the Stony Goodness slabs from Spa Day in order to make a for them to be sort of diagonally slanted, and I used them to create a diagonal slope into the pool to make it look like it's going from one depth to a deeper depth, if that makes sense. And then they also created their own stairway, which again I took the pieces from what they are the staircase kind of railings. They're made from, I believe it's the monolith. I think it's called the monolith something from, I want to say it's either from Get Famous or Spa Day. And this item is this massive block in its original form. But what they've done is sized it down massively and then rotated them so the railing can be created. So I took those pieces and used it to create my own. Then what I'm doing at the moment, I've moved into the goat and sheep and chicken area. I'm not going to forget the chickens again. And when I was Googling like goat type living spaces on Pinterest, I did see that people have made in real life like these sort of custom playground equipment pieces for the goats. And I was like, that is so cool. I want to create something like that for the goats in my game. Obviously, they're not going to be able to actually use it. It would be really cool if they brought out some sort of obstacle pieces that the goats could interact with. But as they haven't, then we'll just use our imagination instead. So I used a debug fence piece. Again, this has been rotated by a creator on the gallery. and I used that to effectively create a seesaw with a couple of debug fence column pieces. And then I used some more of those fence column bits to create a sort of tire obstacle thing. So with the fence column bits and the tires. So the idea being that the goats could sort of jump and climb all over that. Um, as I said, it is obviously just for decoration, but I did think it looked very cute. So yeah, hopefully you like it. I have now moved on into the inside of the house, and we're starting with this big open plan kitchen that I was speaking of earlier. For once, I knew straight away which kitchen counters I wanted to use, and they are the ones from the Horse Ranch EP. If you don't have this EP yet and you do like rustic kind of countryside, cottagey sort of styling, then I 100% recommend this. The textures of the wood within these items are so nice, they're so pretty, and they look so rustic. And I just absolutely love so many of the items from this pack. So I went straight in with this dark brown swatch, and then I added a green wallpaper from the Jungle Adventure pack. Again, that one, it has some wild and bold items in it, but it also has some pretty nice items for rustic kind of designs, and especially within the wallpapers, there's some really nice dark tones. I'm creating like a kitchen counter situation here. Well, like an island, sorry, a kitchen island situation with a custom seating area within it. So what I wanted to do here in order to make this, I basically took the smallest kitchen cupboard piece that you can access by turning the custom counters and cupboards on, and I placed them against the wall. I placed the wall where I wanted the counter pieces to sit, deleted the wall, and by placing these, sorry, not counter, cupboard pieces at the bottom of the wall and then deleting it, it created like this seating area, which I could then raise a couple of the ottomans. Again, the ones I used were from the Horse Ranch EP. A couple of ottoman pieces up into the cupboards, and because the cupboards are wall decorations, your Sims shouldn't get affected by them and should still be able to sit onto the ottoman if they wanted. I do really like having like a kind of sitting area within a big kitchen, so that if one of your Sims is hard at work preparing food, other Sims in the household can be sat there and keep them company whilst they are cooking. I did also add a couple of bar stools in behind, and I just added what this is. It's like a kind of like a, it reminds me of like a hymn book from the Vampires game pack DLC, and I seen somebody else do this a while back, and I thought this is so cool. They basically moved the book by the oven, that is what I'm talking about, and they moved it inside the counter, and it kind of looks like a cookbook, like a recipe book that's open. So I placed that beside the oven and tried to make it look as though the sim that is had been cooking there has left his or her recipe book open midway through, so that it sort of looks like, yeah, like they were midway through following a recipe. I've added in some herbs. Now, these herbs, I love using these in my kind of rustic style builds, and usually they just get hung against the wall, but for this one, because I was using a big double size, like the double size cupboard at the end, I thought it'd be really cool to have them actually hanging within the wood of that cupboard. So I just deleted the wall behind, and that allowed me to, well, allowed the herbs to stop snapping onto the wall behind, because there was no wall there anymore, and it meant I could just raise them, bring them forward a little bit, and make it look as though they're hanging within the wood of the cupboard rather than on the wall, and then I could just pop the wall back in behind, and that works out perfectly. You will see at some point with my kitchen that there's a change in the stair shape. I realised when I went upstairs that I'd only left one tile on the landing for the Sims to access one of the bedrooms, and I like them to be too wide. I just, yeah, one feels too cramped. So I do change the shape of the stairs ever so slightly, which then means I do have to adjust the area where the washer and dryer are. So when you see that that's changed shape at one point, that is why. I think I do cut the footage out of it because it's just a bit of a nuisance, and you've seen me place all those items already, so I felt like there wasn't much point in redoing it. Yeah, so now, as you can see, I was just finishing off that area with the laundry section. In the UK, it is very common to have washers and dryers within your kitchen. I think in the US, it's more likely that you have like a designated, I don't know, like utility or laundry room, so to speak. But as I was going off very English countryside cottage kind of vibes for this one, I thought that it would be fine to stick with how it is around in most of the properties in the UK, and keep the washer and dryer within the kitchen. I've moved on into the living room at the moment. I do love this fireplace area that I created, I'm not gonna lie. I used the fire from the Cottage Living expansion pack and stuck it within like a custom exposed chimney piece from, you'll see like from the outside wall that is part of the chimney as it goes upward. And I added in the fire I can't think of the word for that, but like the fire tools item. And I also added a basket from the jungle. Oh, my mind's gone blank again. The jungle, the jungle DLC is, you know what I mean. And then I googled, what am I talking about? This is because I'm talking for such a long time here. My mind's just going silly. But yeah, then I went on the gallery and searched for some debug logs, downloaded them, and placed them into that basket just next to the fire. I thought that looked super cute and was like a really nice little touch for adding to the coziness of this living room. I also really love the light that I used in there, like as I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I added in a bookcase. There's a mirror there at the moment. That mirror gets replaced by a like dog and cat and hamster photo collage from the My First Pet stuff. In the end, I just thought that looked cozier and I preferred it. And just adding in some other wall decorations at the moment. There's a clock there from the Cottage Living expansion, but then I remembered that we do have grandfather clocks, and I thought, you know what, that's even better. We'll go with one of them, so that gets switched for that. Added in some more blankets. There's the cat tree that I was talking about, and the living room is almost done. Just added in a horse riding award. As I mentioned, the mum's a jockey, and she has got a multitude of awards with her horse. So yeah, a couple more family based sculptures and clutter, and I like to clutter up the coffee table to again help it look as lived in as possible. We've got some board games on there, one of the kids' storybooks, like the pop-up storybook thing from the Little Campers kit, some tissues, some flowers, and that is pretty much it done. If it does appear that my footage has gotten a bit jumpy whilst I'm in the interior, I will explain why. So, usually on a Saturday evening, or what tends to be more so night because of being in the UK and when it's on, but me and my boyfriend will watch the UFC. Now, usually I won't be on my Xbox at the same time, but this Saturday just gone, it was what on paper looked like one of the weakest um, events that I've been on in a while. And we've actually got UFC in Manchester this coming Saturday, which I am beyond excited for. So, as I wasn't that interested in this specific card this time, like I was still watching it, I was watching the fights, but then I was building in between. So, I was kind of like pause. Obviously, my game would stop moving for a little bit whilst I was watching the fights, and then I would go back to building in between each fight being on. And do you know what? It actually turned out to be, there were some really awesome fights on there. There always is. But yeah, and girls, if you've got a partner or a brother or a dad or a friend that lives with you and watches the UFC, go and join them. Go and join them watching it because it is absolutely awesome. Like it's just really good. I can't recommend it enough, and I'm so excited for the Manchester card on Saturday. I will be supporting the fighters, Tom Aspinall, Paddy the Baddy, and Leon Edwards. Let me know if it is something that you watch. I I I just enjoy it. I really enjoy it. And me and my boyfriend, he got me into it. He's been obsessed with it for a heck of a lot longer than me, for years and years and years. But yeah, it's something that we watch every Saturday, and I was half watching and half building during doing this interior last Saturday night. So I do apologise if there was any jumpiness. I'm in the parents' bedroom now. I love this bedroom. It's so cute and cozy, and I love the pastel yellow bedspread matched with the walls. And I'm just a way to create a custom dressing table mirror piece kind of thing. So I actually have one kind of similar to this in my own bedroom, well, my own dressing room rather, and I've just used some base game mirrors, removed the walls, and this was a bit of a palaver. It involved me removing the walls and then removing the surrounding roof pieces because they act like walls that the mirror was trying to snap onto. But yeah, once all the walls and roof walls were removed, so to speak, I was able to freely place the mirrors in a sort of, well, three mirrors in a sort of bended section to look as though it was this custom mirror on the dressing table, which I really liked. I'm just adding in a few bits more of clutter now. I didn't want to make it overly cluttered, but I wanted there to be, some items there that would be purposeful to the Sims. We've also got a fireplace area. Again, this bedroom is directly above the living room, so I felt like it made sense to have a fire in the bedroom as well. I've added in a picture from the cats and dogs pack of a load of dogs, which is really cute. Sat around like a table, I think, and a couple of chairs surrounding the fireplace, along with a pet bed for either the dog or cat to sit on with the parents. As I did mention earlier, we have got fish in the house as well. Not too sure how well that would go down given that we've got a cat, because I also have a hamster as well, so the cat will likely be um, looking at least the perhaps trying to catch the fish and or hamster. And actually, when I moved a family in, the cat immediately went and sat on top of the hamster cage, which I didn't know that that could happen, but it made me smile because I did think, gosh, that is very realistic. And although, having said that, I did used to have a hamster in real life. Her name was Taylor Swift because I was having a Taylor Swift fan stage at the time, shall we say. And I had two cats at the same time, and neither of the cats actually bothered with little Taylor Swift. The one who was the most bothered with Taylor Swift, the hamster, was our our dog. And she wasn't trying to like capture her or anything. I think she just wanted a friend of her own, and obviously the two cats had got each other, and so she would come up and sit with Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift would be doing little cartwheels in front of her cage, and just putting on a bit of a show for the dog, and our dog would just sit there fascinated by her, and it was a cute little bond that the two of them had. But yeah, so now I'm moving on into the little girls' room. Again, lots of signs of being animal crazy in this bedroom. We've got I liked the sort of beachy beigey kind of light wood furniture in here. I just thought it made it look quite almost like fairy tale-ish, which I thought was nice for a little girl's room. And we've got lots of clutter with animal-based toys, some cats and dogs decals on the wall, and stuffed toys, cats, dogs, rabbits, and whatnot in this room as well. But yeah, I realise that I've been talking for a heck of a long time now, and you're probably, well, hopefully not, but you're probably getting a little bit tired of listening to my voice, so I shan't keep you guys for too much longer in the sense of this voiceover. Still to come, I'm just going to decorate the little boy's room after this. Again, very animal themed. As I mentioned, I gave him a pet ladybug within that room as well. I only got the outdoor retreat pack not too long ago. Even though it's like one of the oldest packs, it was one of the more recent ones that I actually got my hands on. And I only realized literally, I think it was within my last build that I did, actually, the one before this one, that there was all these insect pets that you could use with that, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I didn't even realize it was a part of that DLC. So yeah, so I add that into his room. Again, loads more animal based toys and um, furniture, and then I'll do the bathrooms, and then the room above the stables, I believe, is the final thing. So I had contemplated at first making this like a living area for a sort of farmhand type of person. However, in the end, I decided against it, and I decided to make like a workshop area. And by workshop, I mean there's like a woodwork area, there's an artist painting area, there is a knitting, um, well, sort of arts and crafts section from using items from the Nifty Knitting pack, and there's an archaeology table, and even a pumpkin carving table. So lots and lots of arts and crafts type stuff for your Sims to do in the sense of loads of gameplay activities. And I thought, that maybe the parents and the kids have those as hobbies, and maybe also sell those items at the markets that they go to when they sell their farm produce. But yeah, that will be pretty much it, I believe. So I'll just leave you with some relaxing music for the last few minutes of this footage, and then at the end of the footage, there will be a load of screenshots as well. But yeah, you can find this build on my gallery. My ID is Miss_Asa. It will be in the description down below if you're not sure on that one. And I will also add in the description all of the packs that I've used for this build and how many items are from each build. Are from each pack, because I think if you've not got all the DLCs, when you look in the gallery, sometimes it can look kind of intimidating if you see a build that's using like every pack. And as I don't limit myself, that can be the case with every pack that I own at least. But sometimes it might just be that there's one or two items from a specific DLC, so it wouldn't really matter if you didn't have it. So I'll give that breakdown down below so you could see if this house would be suitable for you to download. If you do download it, feel free to make any changes that you want. I really don't mind. If you like this house, if you like this video, do leave me a like and consider subscribing. I'd be so grateful. Obviously, with this channel just starting up, it would mean the world to me to hear from you guys. But yeah, thank you ever so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye!